grew up mostly in Juarez, Mexico, and she's spent a lot of time documenting migration, migrants. She's ridden on La Bestia. She's been camped out and traveling with a caravan for years and producing some amazing photography. And before I introduce her and bring her in, I want to say that Ada also just won a very big award, the Guardian Photography Contest. Is a big deal. And she also just wrote her first feature as a writer, also featuring obviously her photography for Red Canary magazine, which I'm involved with, which launched today. So congratulations on those two things. She also has been traveling for years, doing gallery shows and galleries, also working in academia, lots of shows, lots of write-ups, lots of press, and it's as a result of all these years of building it. So hi, Ada, how are you? Thanks for taking the time. Okay, first question I want to ask you is just basically, could you tell us about who you are, the work you do, and how that came to happen?
Yes, I'm a photographer. I'm an artist. I do style. My style is black and white. Um, and I work on processes of inclusion and exclusion based on race and class, which comes into borders and the process of migration.
Mhm.
I grew up in the El Paso, Juarez, National Metroplex, or the border. And for me, it was very important to document migration as I saw it change through the years.
Right, and that's where you started. By the way, congratulations on your Guardian photo contest victory. That was really amazing. I don't think I've ever seen that kind of real estate for a documentary photographer doing the kind of work you do in a major global publication like The Guardian. Congratulations on your first story for Red Canary magazine that Joe Donnelly's editing. So it's a big deal, and there's a lot of those for you these days. Tell me a little bit about the story and how the experience of, as a photographer, writing your first piece was.
Well, it was interesting because I have dyslexia. So for me, it was a challenge. I had to rewrite things and rewrite them. Um, but finally, it came to into something that has a lot of heart and a lot of information about why I do this work.
So why is that? What is the story? I mean, what's your trajectory? How did this happen? How did it happen?
Well, the person that helped raise me was a migrant woman. She had been deported from El Paso into Juarez, and she came to work with us as a housekeeper. But she was basically my second mother, and I felt this great connection to her. She got a stroke when I was a senior in high school, and then died after.
Oh,
And I never had the chance to thank her for how great she was and how meaningful her just her life had been with us. So my work is a way of thanking her.
so in a lot of ways, she was your motivation because it was very personal. And so you grew up in Juarez, is that right? I mean, what part of your
Yes,
childhood did you spend in Juarez, and how did that also influence you?
I grew up as a baby in Juarez all the way until high school, but I crossed the border daily because I went to school in El Paso. I was born in El Paso, so I crossed the border daily.
Right. So it was part of your world as a child in your developmental years. It was influential. And obviously, I know you have two teenage daughters yourself. Obviously, it's a very different experience that they're having,
Yes.
adolescence. So in this very, this time when you were very obviously influenceable, you were very young. influenceable. This had an impact on you. Did it have an impact on you then beyond this connection to your nanny? And what was her name?
Her name was Amapola, and we called her Pola. I also had the influence that my aunt helped start the Centro de la Frontera Norte, which is a center that works on migrant studies when I was when I was younger. So I had these influences of social justice, of wonderful people around me that later, when I could register what was going on, I was able to apply it. Yes, I developed friendships. Uh, and I develop connections, and I treat people as human beings as I would like to be treated. I don't just snap a picture because I feel that's stealing. I ask permission. I have a dialogue so I can say something about the work and give it the humanity it deserves. I've been working on photography professionally since 2017. The ones that are alive, I have a good chance of doing that. Um, there's some that have passed, so you know that that's not going to happen. Unfortunately, like in Honduras, El Salvador, those are very dangerous countries. But for a lot of people, I can trace them, or I can trace their mother, or I can trace their cousin. I can trace somebody. I can get them. Well, there were more people that had happy endings, definitely with the previous caravan, 2018, than what happened with the caravan of 2020. The caravan of 2020, nobody got lucky. They were all returned back to Honduras by the Mexican government. The one in 2018, there were a few got lucky, like Javi and his mother. Remember, we did that story together. That
Yeah.
was a beautiful story. Um, that
Excuse
was
me one
very.
second. Ada's talking about Javier and his mother, Maria Luisa from Honduras. He had Down syndrome. They got into the country. That was actually shocking. First of all, that she was there in the camp with her son in such a bad condition. But also, I'm amazed that they got in. I'm very happy for them. I can't believe they were there. So, yeah, there's a couple happy endings, right? Tell me what we're looking at in this video here.
Nope. I can't see the video.
Yeah.
Well, there's several things that are like in the works. One of them that it's gonna be a long project, but is the legalization of marijuana, and that's very interesting to me because it has to do how does that relate to social justice, and it relates to it when you decrease violence by getting rid of drug dealers. Uh, so that, and what are the aspects of it? I'm not a consumer of it, but I find it extremely interesting of like the medicinal qualities that the strands had. And so I think that that's something that will take me a long while. It's not like a project that I can do immediately because it's so complicated, but it's something that it's in the works.
Right. And this just happened in Mexico. The
Yes, as I said, I have several things that are in the works, and it depends how I proceed with each one in terms of the opportunity, how it raises, especially economical opportunity. If I could travel, if I can do this, that, especially under COVID. But I find faith very interesting, and I found it because with the migrant communities I've worked with, they've lost absolutely everything, but they retain their faith, and they always happen to pray before they go into a journey. And so I thought that was very strong, and it's motivating me into working in something in that direction, but more not just with the migration, but is in general. What's the power of faith? What can it really do?
Right. You know, I'm so aware of what you're talking about because what I noticed, of course, when we were in TJ in Tijuana was that the situation was very, very bleak. And the more bleak it got, the more people were lovely and always, talking about put your faith in the eternal one and believing God is going to save them and kind of very committed to that, which is, very familiar to me because it's the way I live. But that was really amazing. What was also amazing to me is how incredibly challenging physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually being on the bus was, and the toll that it took in the camp. It was just really wore me down after a while. And I noticed that there were some people there who were very vibrant and resilient and happy and hopeful. And some of them were a lot older than I. There was, of course, people in wheelchairs. There was people with infants and newborns and pregnant women. And that was the day that we met when they ran out of baby formula. And the women were feeding their babies milk with water, which of course is going to make them sick. And I remember the look on your face when they told us that, when someone told us that. And, I wonder if that's part of what drives you as well, a kind of indignation and a kind of sense of just like, oh, hell no. This is not.
Absolutely, absolutely. When I see injustice being done, I feel I have to stand up and do something about it, and not just sit down and complain. In my photography, as I said before, I have dyslexia, so I can't just write this humongous essay and say this and go. My work, my protest is my eye, my photography.
That's amazing. Okay, I want to wrap it up. I want to ask you a couple questions, and then I'll give the link to your story in Red Canary magazine. And where do people find you? What's the best way for people to find you?
And Instagram is at Ada Trillo, Trillo, photography. That's it. Ada
Great.
Trillo photography.
Ada Trillo photography.
Desperation. I'm okay. It's the one at the bottom. And you'll see the river. hmm Okay. Ada Trillo.
Taking the time and talking to us about who you are and the work that you're doing. And I will double back and find you as soon as you got something else going on. Thanks, Ada.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.